So this lesson is coming from Chapter 3, Lesson 8. We're just going to talk about how to add decimals without using pictures, just strictly adding decimals. So if I have this problem, if I have 2 5/10 plus 4 6/10. In order to add decimals, you need to make sure you line up every single place value. So I'm going to first put my first number on top, 2 5/10. Now, 4 6/10. The 4 needs to be directly underneath the number in the ones place value. Then my decimal points need to be lined up perfectly. And the number in the tenths place value, the 6, needs to be lined up with the 5 from 2 5/10 because that's the same place value. So now my first step was to line up the place values in the decimal. Now I need to bring down the decimal point. It just gets dropped right below where it's located in the problem. And then I add this like a normal problem. 5 plus 6 is 11. Bring up my 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. So my answer is 7 1/10. Now let's look at another problem. Let's look at 8 75/100 plus 6 43/100. So my first step when adding decimals is to line up the place values and line up the decimal points. So I'm going to start with my first number, 8 75/100. Now I need to look at the 6 43/100. The 6 is in the ones place value, so I'm going to line it up underneath my number, my number 8, because that's in the ones place value also. Line up my decimal points, because remember, those need to be right on top of each other. And then I need to line up my number in the tenths place value underneath the number in the tenths place value above. Then I need to line up the number in the hundredths place value right underneath the number in the hundredths place value above. Add my addition sign. So remember, step 1 is to line up the numbers, line up the place values, and line up the decimal points. Step 2 is to bring that decimal point straight down, straight below where it's located. And then you just add normally. 5 plus 3 is 8. 7 plus 4 is 11. And then 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 plus 6 is 15. And my final answer is 15 8/10. Now, what happens if I have a number like this? 20 4/10 plus 13 76/100. Well, the rules still apply. The steps still apply. You line up the place values and the numbers and decimal points first. So I'm going to write my first number, 20 4/10 plus, well, this 1 here in 13 is in the tens place value. Line it up. The 3 is in the ones place value, so I'm going to line it up right underneath the number in the ones place value. Line up the decimal points. Line up my tenths. And then I don't have a number in the hundredths, so I'm just going to put that right here. Now, when you don't have a number that goes above, you can just use equivalent decimals to help keep your numbers aligned and in each place. So I can add zeros to the right of the last digit as needed so that my add-ins have the same number of decimal places. So I can add a 0 here. There's an imaginary 0 there, and it's saying the same exact thing. So with that being said, let's now drop the decimal points. Let's add like normal now. 0 plus 6 is 6. 7 plus 4 is 11. 1 plus 0 is 1. Plus 3 is 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. My final answer is 33 16/100.